What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the LuxAlgo live stream. My name is Jacob. It's good to be back. The weekday 1 p.m. EST live stream. That was not how I wanted to say it, but daily, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Welcome back. It's good to see some familiar faces yet again, and we are gonna just hop right into what we're going about here. Now, you saw the title. We want to analyze what you guys suggest. That's kind of the gist here. Is, we will always go over the majors like Bitcoin and gold and crude oil, stuff like that. Always we'll go over those, Ethereum. But again, if there's anything specific you guys want to go over, well, you know the deal. Let's throw up the wheel of analysis and get right into this. Throw in the tickers you want to see. We're going to try to analyze new ones every day. So in this case, go ahead. Let's see what you got, and we'll, if there's certain ones I do want to touch on that I know we might not get in the stream, we'll make sure to touch on them. But in this case, for now, I want to see some new tickers out there, and let's go ahead and fill the board. We'll do Tesla for sure. We haven't looked at Tesla. We have Tesla earnings this afternoon as well. Once again, you pick, we analyze. No BS. All right, let's get it. Bitcoin, definitely going to look over that. Any majors, we're going to look over. Solana, we will look over. I need new ones. Doge, we haven't looked at Doge in a while. Look at that. Somebody said, look at the Euro USD. I haven't looked at that in a day or two. Euro. Let's look at Mana. I like Mana. I know somebody said something earlier that I wanted to look at. It was, we can look at Nvidia for sure. Nvidia, Mana. BCH, okay. Haven't looked at that. We need some new ones here. Somebody said we're going to look at ETH. Don't worry about that. We're gonna look at Ethereum, all the majors. CLSK, Michael. Don't worry, I need to put a disclaimer that says all of those will be covered. AUD, USD. We can look at the Australian dollar. Ignore the slash there. Focus on the AUD. We're gonna look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. Don't worry. Litecoin, we haven't looked at in a while. It's going to be similar. I'm gonna put up Rivian, RIBN. I like that. Actually, I did have a trade on them recently, so I want to look at that on stream for sure. We're gonna look at gold. We're gonna look at NASDAQ. Don't worry about that. I need things that we don't normally look at. We looked at Avalanche yesterday. We might take a look at that near the end of the stream if we want. We need one more non-average ticker. He said Ape's a sleeping giant. We looked at Ape 2 days ago. I'll look at it in the background and see. NVO real fast, so I just make sure it's a. If we're gonna look at, yeah, not that one. Sorry, I'm just looking at the volume of it right now to see which one would be worth looking at. Yeah, just throw in tickers. It's all going to depend on what I see on the charts. SUI, I do like. Intel, Neo, Ripple. We already have. Do we have Ripple on the board? I don't think that one moved much. We did Ripple yesterday. We haven't looked at Coinbase in a while. We look at some stocks today. I'm kind of intrigued by SUI. We're going to do that. Whatever this. SUI, whatever you want to call it. SUI for now. Remember, that kind of leaves us there. Now, remember, guys, that's what we have on the board for now. We do look at all the majors, so don't worry about it. If we have stuff to go over in the end, we can go over. But we're live every single day. So in this case, we'll touch on new things every day. I'll make sure to keep track of what we haven't touched on recently. But it's good to be back. Good to see you guys here. If you're new to the stream, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We just filled our wheel of analysis. Our daily goal is to get to 100 likes. So if you can, smash that like button, hit the subscribe as well, and we'll get on with the stream as we only have 5 minutes till we get into that charting. So for now. Remember, today we did have the U.S. manufacturing PMI. Now this was 15 minutes after open. ES today is absolutely on a ripper. We are up currently 32 points on the day. It's been pretty bullish. I think a big reasoning behind this, and this week actually, ES is up 1%. The NQ today is up 1.26%, which is awesome. 224 points, so absolutely fantastic day with that U.S. manufacturing beat, which is really good. So always keep an eye on the news that's coming out. Great day. Crude oil inventories, look at that, minus 9 million. Right, crude oil today is up 80 cents, hit that high of 75. Remember, we were anticipating this breakout, and we got it today, but it's seeming as if it kind of wants to settle in this case from this report. We'll see if it wants to come off these highs, but it seems to be in a range now. And then we have the auction note at 1 p.m. so you'll probably see a decent little bit of reaction to that. So pay attention at 1 Eastern here. Well, actually, I'm silly. We just hit 1 Eastern. So it's probably why we got that little bit of volatility. I was going to look. Yeah, you can see that candle at 1 Eastern there. Pretty aggressive on the U.S. markets. And that's why you look at the auction note news just in case. But tomorrow we have, the core durable goods in the morning, 8:30. All right, so an hour before open, it's probably going to determine how it goes. But the biggest thing to watch tomorrow is GDP at 8:30. Okay, GDP super important tomorrow, so pay attention at 8:30. Just know 30 minutes before, or an hour before open, that it's probably going to have some volatility, a lot of information coming out. Then you have new home sales coming out at 10 a.m. too, so that's just another reason tomorrow is going to be a pretty crazy day. So just know a lot of news tomorrow. All markets will be affected, right? So a lot of news tomorrow, so just be on top of it. 10 a.m. and pre-market. So tomorrow is going to be a wild day. It'll be fun to see. And then obviously Friday we have the PCE. So PCE on Friday, Thursday and Friday, very aggressive days. And speaking of Fridays, this Friday we're doing a $300 giveaway, $100 to 3 different people on the live stream that tune in this Friday. Let me pin that again. So in this case, just remember, you need to be here at 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday if you want to be a part of this giveaway. So make sure that you're there and you'll know how to enter. It's going to be a pretty simple way to enter, and then we'll reach out to you to make sure you get your winnings. But again, this is a weekly thing we're going to be doing. We're going to be giving away more fun stuff. Eventually, we're going to give away some merch and stuff as well. So you can rep the LuxAlgo brand, as well as, we might give away a few items too that come around trading, maybe some headphones or monitors, whatever. It just depends on how the week's going and how you guys are feeling. We might vote on it too. So every Monday, though, for the cash front, we will vote on what you would like to give away. But for now, we will see you Friday for that 300 giveaway. But heading into our last minute here, let's double check really fast. Netflix, right? Pops 10% as streamer adds 13.1 million subscribers. We talked about Netflix yesterday. It was at a pretty decent low there. Or it was coming off of a low on the daily because it's been, it sold off quite a bit, but it's finally regained that value back. And man, it's on a tear today. We're up 12% with that earnings report. And you can see here, it actually missed its EPS, but beat revenue by a little over 120 or 110 million there, which is pretty awesome. So seeing that, it's very good, especially from last year. Being at 7.85 billion, and then this year 8.83 billion. So they're bringing in a lot of new things to the platform to make sure they're on the right track for this year. So there you go. That's why you get your 12% jump. You see an increase of subscribers at the end of last year, as well as a revenue jump from the year before. So great start to the year for Netflix. We'll see if it wants to continue from here, but man, up 12% today. Remember, we do have Tesla earnings. I can bring this up. Where is it? Boom. There you go. Tesla earnings after hours, IBM as well. We had AT&T this morning. I don't really care about AT&T earnings, in my opinion. Great dividends, though. Tesla, good after hours today, so we'll keep an eye on that. But in this case, Tesla, remember, 2023, this last year, it was a 1.19 EPS, and it's predicted a 0.72 EPS. I'm not a real fan of that, especially with the revenue forecasting. Look at the revenue difference. Not much has changed in a year, which is not good. So we'll see how that affects. If it does beat revenue, then we might see a little bit of increase. But Elon has been kind of not talking very nicely about Tesla. But we do like it at this low in this area. I do want to see where earnings is going to drive this, though. As you can see, we're down 48%. Down 48% from the all-time highs. So we'll see how it goes. It's really going to be interesting because, we might be able to get a drop off in a decent buy. Below $200, probably a pretty good buy on Tesla. So long as Elon's obviously still involved, and he's going to be. It was originally his baby, but now space is technically his baby. So we'll see how Tesla goes after today's earnings. And guess what? We will be talking about it later this week as well. So we'll see you on that later. But let's go ahead and hop into our chart analysis. Remember that we always go over the majors. So whenever you guys jump into the stream, don't be like, Bitcoin, I want to see Bitcoin, or I want to see, NASDAQ, or I want to see Ethereum, because we're always going to go over those, especially gold as well. Don't worry about throwing that in the chat. We don't need to do it. And Edward with the Apple 4 hour. But in this case, starting with Bitcoin, you guys know the deal. We're going to look at the, let's start with the weekly, like we talked about. We've been talking about this for days, and it's continuing to hold above that 38K, above that fair value gap. So this fair value gap is almost nearly confirming that it is something that it does want to hold. And we're getting it, we've had several. Let's jump down to the 4 hour. I really want to see this current price action, in which case right now, and we talked about this yesterday, if we really wanted to lean bullish on this, we want it above 42,000, right? We really want it above that 42,000 mark. Now, this is still following a proper trend. In this case, it is still following a proper trend. And I'm going to take down the music there so it's not all in your ears. Sorry about that. I was like, why am I still hearing the music? But in this case, still in a very proper trend, trying to set a lower high right now. So I wouldn't consider this an area to long, nor short. The short would have happened on this this low break in resistance earlier. But for now, because it's bounced off of that 38,000, that was the mark in which we liked. We go to the daily yet again. We've talked about this a billion times. You do have that FVG sitting here, and you have those highs as well still sitting there. So still in a current downtrend. There's not much that has changed since yesterday. So I'm not really going to spend too much time on Bitcoin because I do want to take a little bit to get through these with more time, the ones that you guys want to see. But for Bitcoin right now, still bearish on the daily as well as the 4 hour. You can see that lower high forming quite nicely. I do like, though, that the candles are starting to flip back a bit here. So it's a good sign that purple's coming in. But again, it's still setting lower highs very easily. So in this case, if it were to come back down to 38K, 38.5 was that low? Low is 38.5. So if it comes back down to 38.5, shows that support. We talked about on the daily how we saw, or sorry, was it the weekly? Yeah, let me see the weekly here. On the weekly here, there is a potential from this breakout here, retracement down to the 36, 37 mark. We really liked the 37s, the 38 to 37 range. Obviously, Bitcoin likes to trade quite aggressively. But remember our overall view of this. For those of you that weren't here, if I can click the right thing while I'm thinking here. The fixed range profile we were watching was from that breakout we had here into what we see now. And this is it yet again. It's trying to hold above this high volume range that it formed, right? From the past, I mean, this is back to 2020 when we had this big pump. So if it can hold that 40K and it wants to confirm it on a weekly chart, we really like it for the continued breakout through 50, or at least retesting the high. But you can see this order block was confirmed that it did not want to break through. So we rejected it, came back down, but we're still sitting above this high volume range. So if it can hold above 40, this week. Maybe next week we get a close back over 42 like we talked about. This thing could set up for that next rally. But in this case, with the oscillator matrix, like we said before, that a little bit more would be nice to get a clean reset. I would say around 68. We're almost there, to be honest. That would be lining up with this previous lower high turning point that happened before we had this big run. So that would work out pretty well. If we look at the daily here, you can see this is very good on the daily chart. I really like that this is starting to extend to the downside, especially after being heavy on the upside here with this massive uptrend that we've had. But for the 4 hour, as well as you can see here, it's starting to come off these lows. So what might happen is we might see some divergence. In that case, if we get some divergence, it would be perfect to see it where it forms at these highs here around 38 to 37. I think anywhere in between there is good for that bounce. And then you would see probably a divergence like this, which would indicate this guy coming down and bouncing something like that. So this is really, really good for a potential divergence setup. Something I would want to see is similar to this formation on the daily or on the 4 hour chart. So we'll see something like that. Maybe we'll get that pump. But then again, if that were the case, if it came back down, then I'd probably lean a little bit more bullish if it can hold above like 40,500. But we'll get there when we get there. Okay. We'll get there when we get there. If we had more time on the daily stream, I'd say I would trade for you guys. But again, I want to touch on everything you guys want to see. So we only have an hour and a half roughly. So let's go into our next chart and let's jump over to gold. Let's just jump over to a whole different market here. And as you can see, real fast. Beautiful. All right. As you can see, we said yesterday, maybe someday there, Zyrex for sure. We might come in market open or something, and we'll talk about it. But I'm more of, like I said, I'm more of a swing trader long term, so I hold positions for quite a while. That's why we like to look at the 4 hour and above. In this case, though, like I said, well, we'll go over that in a little bit. Sorry, I don't want to get off track here. So gold, guys, remember we said yesterday we were bearish on gold, and then I do want to, let me turn off the smart trail. The smart trail, let me make it cleaner so you guys understand a little bit. We had that break of structure. Remember, we said on stream yesterday, if that break of structure forms and it breaks below 2020, roughly this range here, we really liked it to go retest these lows. Now you can see it's already been selling off quite a bit on the 4 hour. The oscillator set up nicely. It was above the 50 level. It was coming off highs. It flipped to a bearish money flow. Everything leaned very bearish on top of the rejection of that Neo cloud. We have a massive imbalance, right? We have a massive imbalance area here. And again, it's one of those things where this low is a way better target, way higher probability than breaking out to the upside. So for gold here, being bearish is going to be below that 2012. We talked about on the daily, though, so we can look through this yet again. We are, setting another lower high, rejecting this high too. You can see the oscillator is trying to come down a bit as well. If we were to actually have that change of character there, I want to show you something here. In this case, for our daily, if we were to actually pull up a Fibonacci, you can see here when this thing fully retraced, it bounced off that 50 level. Now, we did have a bearish change of character, but you can still see it's sitting purple. Now, what I want to see is I want to see an actual, breakout with bullish candles like we saw here, or I want to see a clean breakdown. So daily, not very strong in my opinion right now. I don't know. In this case, we wanted to hold that 2020 like we talked about, 2000 super psychological level from this low that it formed off of this high. If we're talking Fibonacci now, again, that 50 level, it bounced already. When it goes to retest the level, does it treat it as support? That's what we are yet to find out. But I do think we can get, if we get to 2000, we're going to hit 1980. And that's the biggest thing we're watching for. Man, spamming number 1 in the chat. That's what we're talking about. Number 1, baby. But in this case, look at this. Once again, look at the a weekly chart. And this is something that, once again, we talked about a billion times the past few streams. If price holds above these highs, we really like it. So in this case, we're kind of waiting for this to be confirmed that it does want to hold here. So, if it falls below 1980, it probably could test like the 1950s. But for now, it is a pretty strong bullish trend. We have a trend strike of like 64%. But it is treating these highs very well as support. So that's something we really want to focus on, is seeing if it can hold 2K is probably going to be that falling point, is 2K on gold. But if it does break 2K, 1980 is our second target. But for now, anything's bullish over that 2K mark, especially with these highs sitting here. So if you're in gold for the long run, that's what you want to look for. 4 hour, one more time. Here, as you can see, the 1980 mark works so well with this lower order block. It's been treated as support. But for now, you can see price did tend to show support around right at close to 2,000 from that previous resistance before we had that big breakout. So this could be consolidating, waiting for its next run. But even on the 4 hour here, it's still pretty bearish. I think, the low 2,000s is going to hit first. The oscillator, if you want to try it out, it's actually in the description of the live stream. Go check it out. The link's down there. But in this case, guys, let's hop over to our next one. So we're sticking to the timeline. Let's go to the Ethereum. ETH. All right, Ethereum, man, what an aggressive amount of days it's been selling. And I think we were looking at this yesterday to see if it wanted to actually make that change character in a sense. A lot of imbalance. You got sell side imbalance sitting up here, right? It completely failed to find support on these highs, which is kind of lame. It tried. It really tried. It wanted to. It wanted to go. Tried to form a bull flag and then just completely got hammered. But in this case, it busted through those highs. Structure's been broken. And I'm not a fan of this on the long side at the very moment. But I'm a firm believer in the Ethereum bull case. I think right now, once again, it's kind of following suit to the rest of the market. Something that you want to maybe pay attention to is the level that it's currently at. Now, for its sake right now, very strong support here on 2,200. Yeah. All right. Very strong support here on 2,200, right? On the oscillator, it is pulling off to the downside, which is fine, but it has been trading in a pretty strong uptrend for a while, which is why I don't necessarily like it as much. But, this is the daily chart. We would like to see if, for now, this last support at 2,200 will hold. And then before that, we have still another high to be tested. That's 2,100. It got tested several times before that breakout, and that's why I'm a little more bearish in this case. Let's go to the weekly. This was a big thing, right? This is, we've said this on stream quite a bit for Ethereum. And, when we had this breakout here, and I'm actually even going to move this a little bit more. Where'd that go? There we go. Move this to when it came into this range. Actually, it broke this range right here. There you go. So here you go. This was the case in which we really wanted to talk. And it was this high volume range. Remember on Bitcoin there, we were trying to hold support over this high volume range. And now we are on Ethereum. We've been having resistance at the top of the value range. So it's a little bit different. Obviously, Bitcoin ran up, hit that previous swing high order block there. Swing high order block. But again, this one came up. We said 2,500 was that initial target for the breakout. And it hit, but it's still struggling, right? It's still struggling after it hit that. We were scared about the 2,500 price and didn't fully hold. We do think, though, if it can get back out of this range, get into these more imbalanced liquidity here as it was trading through these through that 4K level, the high 4K, and even the low 2,500. That was the area in which we wanted to see it actually break and hold aggressively. So still plotting that. I think once again, you do in a sense have a very strong bull case because this thing has been bearish for quite a while. As you can see here, the NeoCloud hasn't even turned back to the bull side, which is what I really like here, and why we do want to wait for a small consolidation pullback so the oscillator can pretty much reset and show us some strength. Look at the difference here on this bull run and this bear run versus what we've been seeing, right? Money flow is very indecisive. We finally had a little bit of bullish money flow come in, but then again, it's failing. So we really need some strong buyers to step into this market to show Ethereum that it wants to break. But I do think if we get a firm close over 2,600, I mean, you could even say 2,500 at this point, but 2,600 is probably a good marking point because of this high volume lows here. 2,600, if it gets over that, I would say you have a very high probability of hitting 3,000. So that's kind of what we're watching. But for now, it's like this high here is really the focus. The high body close is like 2119. So I would just say 2100 in general. That's what we're watching. You still have that imbalance that's trying to hold. But that's essentially, we want to see some consolidation around and above that 2100 mark. That'd be lovely. But for now, that is Ethereum, and we'll see what we think from there. Let's jump over to the NASDAQ real quick, just real fast. NASDAQ, nothing much. I mean, you're welcome. That's for one, you're welcome. And we literally sat here yesterday. We were like, look, there's absolutely no reason to be selling this whatsoever. And once again, you're up another 1.5%, 200 points today. So in this case, it's like, again, you don't need to fight what's happening, right? The market's going to do what it wants to do. This is how the market moves. It moves in these, in these patterns, right? So again, this is the beginning of the year, getting off to a very good start. I would continue to hold this until it's telling you otherwise, right? On the daily here, I mean, this weekly has been insane. The daily chart as well has been absolutely insane. Look at this. I mean, the oscillator tells you a whole different story as well. I had a full reset on that pullback for the NASDAQ, absolutely ran up, and now it's finally back into that oversold territory. I mean, if you're riding pretty and you're sitting up in some real hefty profits, you could consider, taking some off. But again, I mean, more than likely you have that 18,000 mark up there and it's already, pretty close to that. It's probably going to hit it so long as we continue. Now, remember, we do have GDP. It was Friday or tomorrow. We have GDP tomorrow. So in this case, GDP is not on track. Then, we might see a little bit of correction. That's something you want to pay attention to, is always the news. But in this case, this is once again yet another reason why you don't fight the trend. You follow what's showing on the chart, and again, you're consistently just hitting new highs, which is absolutely incredible, right? So after that, let me jump into Solana really fast. We didn't put it on the board. I wanted to look at it, and here you go. This is what we said. Look, we marked this level yesterday, right? Look what happened. This is why we marked these levels. Well, bam. It's like we had a perfect wick to that downside. It's back up, right? 86. We said, that your best price is probably below 80 because it's going to probably treat this resistance that it had quite a bit of volume on as at least a level where, it had leftover buyers, right? These are all leftover buy side imbalance. So in this case, a lot of those orders didn't get filled. They were just sitting there, and wham, they got filled pretty quickly there below 80, and now you're back up to 86. So if you watched this yesterday, you traded that, and you are banking, especially you guys that trade leveraged perpetual futures on Binance and stuff, or can actually do that. But there you go. I mean, all of this lined up perfectly. It fell through that high volume level at a very aggressive sell side imbalance. It broke all and filled all of that sell side imbalance, came back down, pop, buying it, right? So in this case, there you go. FEG was lining up there too. I mean, these got liquidated too, but in this case, look at that. Absolutely incredible. I just have default settings, so it's sitting at 12. But in this case, guys, that's what we wanted. We want to see that hold. Now, for a long-term bull case, we did like buys under 80. So if you're able to capture that move down, under 80 was great on Solana. But for now, remember we talked about for a long-term situation, in my opinion, we do want to get over into the 95s. I mean, you could even say it's above this NEO here. We want to make sure these lows aren't actually going to be considered resistance. You can see there's a high volume level somewhere right here. And this is another spot which is going to be kind of worth pulling a profile here so we can see where this volume's sitting. And wham, there you go. So that's a good area. It's like 92s. It gets up to 95. You want to see if this thing can trade to the top of that value range. And then from there, we need that breakout to probably actually retest these highs. But in this case, this thing is going to be in a bearish trend if it's below this value range, right? So we have to clear back into that value range of 92 plus. So I would want to see that move. If we were to pull up like a weekly, though, we can go back into this. And there you go. That was, similar to what we looked at. Actually, let's go to the daily. Similar situations. Like you pull a volume profile because that's the only range that we had there. So, I mean, there you go. That's pretty much what we're looking at Solana. If it breaks below this low, you might go see a retest of like the 68s. But we were saying below 80 yesterday. Great. We think that's a good long-term buy area, or at least to add to a position if you are long-term. Guys, we're at 64 likes. Let's get up to that 100 like mark. We appreciate you. And if you're new to the stream, welcome. Welcome to LuxAlgo daily, weekly, weekday live stream. Weekdays 1 p.m. Eastern. We'd love to see you here again each week or each day. Sorry, I keep saying week because I'm so used to us doing these weekly live streams. But I'm trying to think. I want to make sure. Let's go over crude oil really fast before we get into what we were talking about. So like I said, guys, I was long crude oil near close to 70. I think my average was like 70.50 or something for this, $5 run. I really want to see this breakout now with the report today being reporting, 9 million in a surplus. Good for obviously the dollar, bad for technically, we're have a lot of supply. But again, it all depends on the overall production of how this ranks to the demand. So in this case, price is up because of that. And that's why it's hard to fully predict on what you're looking unless you can identify certain patterns with the crude oil inventories. But we are very undervalued here at 70, a very high volume level, as you can see here, traded quite a bit. So off of this, this is kind of a TP1. If for some reason this daily doesn't close up here, I'm probably going to close like at least most of my position. But for now, great little day here with that big report that came out, up another 73 cents on the day, 1%. So if you've been in with me, great job. But in this case, for crude oil, we want to break out of 76, and then we think we'll see some pretty decent volume. If not, we're going to probably trade back down to the 70s. 2024 has been predicted there's going to be a lot higher production going on for crude oil barrels. So in that case, value price with the election year could actually come back down to the 60s, maybe 50s. So we'll keep an eye on how price is going as we continue to do these weekday live streams. So stay tuned for that. 72 likes, guys. Let's get it up, baby. But in this case, let's jump to the wheel of analysis, kind of go over what you guys wanted to see today. And I'm going to try to not spend too much time on each one. Let's go ahead and give it this first spin here. And we got Nvidia. Nice. That's a good start. The only thing about Nvidia is, my goodness, it is crazy. So whoever put Nvidia on the board, you're up first, my friend. I'm going to take a quick swig. All right, I'm good. In this case, too, I need to get some sound effects in this or something, right? Get some sound effects in here. Which would be kind of fun, especially when we're about to do the wheel. All right. It's similar to the NASDAQ. Nvidia up 4% here. Guys, if you like to follow politicians and you want to follow, the number one stock trader, obviously she wins over and over again. This lady bought those, 5 million plus in call options down here below $500. And I mean, it's up $125 from that. Like, it's just unreal. This is why you pay attention to some of these trades that these people make. And because people are going to follow, a lot of people are going to follow what these people buy, right? Now, the only weird part about Congress and buying certain shares and stuff is like, they don't have to report it for a while, which kind of drives me crazy. I think they should have to report it pretty quickly. I think they have like a 30-day window or something. I would have to look exactly the window. If you know the window in which politicians do have to report their trades, let me know. But in this case, it's insane the amount of waves she's put into this. Obviously, Nvidia is projected to have a really good year, right? as well. There's a lot of new tech coming out with Nvidia. But in this case, for the general sense of the chart, this is yet again another reason why you don't want to fight the trend, why the NASDAQ has been, outperforming the S&P 500 early this year. But in this case, it's like we're continuing to break these highs. Are super extended. We finally actually just kind of hit that extended point. We hit it, when we did that breakout through 550, but it's still continuing. This is nothing I would consider, just exiting just yet. If we were to actually pull up the signals here, I want to see if you want a confirmed exit point, right? Let me just optimize it. You can roughly utilize, within the signals and overlays feature, we have exits, right? So you can treat these at multiple TP points. Right now, you would be in a TP2 if you did that. But, I do necessarily like to do a 12 sensitivity because that is default. Something I follow because I'm not necessarily using the signals as entries. I'm using them as a bias towards what the price action currently is. If we're going to sell signal inside of a bullish, neocloud, I'm not going to consider this a short, but I might consider it a final TP. Sets back up, change character, bullish signal. It's like that's lining up with aggressive buyers to move to a new TP. So in this case, you had a TP1 off that signal, and it's still telling you to hold on tight. So for now, it's something that's like you could have definitely taken some off above 600. I mean, why wouldn't you if you definitely got in around like 520? Absolutely insane of a move here. But 622, 623 looks good. But I think it could still continue easily. So we'll see if we can get a push even higher than that, which would be pretty awesome. But in this case, guys, Nvidia, I mean, there's nothing that I wouldn't, it's just hold on for dear life. And if you're in pretty low there, then good job. Sorry, checking on to something. Let's move on. Near the end there is the last one we put in. I did like the daily. Where my delete? Boom. I did like the daily. And here you go, Edward. I got a lovely FVG to talk about here for you. All right. I'm going to take off the signals for now so the chart's not too crowded. But in this case, here you go. FVGs are imbalances, right? They're buy side or sell side imbalances, which means, the buyers took over an area where it pumped and it left, buyers behind as it pumped through this area and just took out all the sellers, right? All the sellers got taken out usually during an imbalance, and then buyers get left behind. So in this case, market, because liquidity is left behind, the market tends to like to come back towards liquidity to then continue its trend, right? So that's why you would consider trading off FVGs, because essentially, market makers sending this back to an area of liquidity to then continue the move in whichever direction that it's printed. So always utilize them as better places to consider taking entry. And as you can see here, great example, bounce right off of that FVG. Now, in this case here, we have this swing for the breakout. So once again, we take our little Fibby going on there. Fibby dropping down, lines up perfectly with the FVG. Got this lovely golden pocket, and would have been a great little retrace entry with that support hold. In my opinion, though, for long-term wise, as short-term, if you were trading just the daily chart, you saw that. You saw this lovely little doji candle here. That's, it's a great little continuation of price action. You would have a great risk to reward at that level if you were doing like a 2 or 3 day swing. On the long-term side, we can go to the weekly. Man, this is right at the IPO price too, or ICO, or whatever you say. This was actually when it was on Coinbase. Is it longer on Binance? Not really. Bitstamp? Nope. All right, so we'll do it on Coin. Oh, we're gonna do it on Coinbase. So in this case, daily. Gotta love those fibs, baby. You do gotta love them. Looking, very solid here for this thing to continue into a breakout. So whoever suggested this chart is phenomenal. So here you go. This is what we really want to see, honestly, on a 4 hour. So this is really, really good for a 4 hour chart. It's going to retest a previous lower high, right? In this case, I want to see a high get set here somewhere. Let's just say it's at the same resistance, right? If it's at that same resistance, you want to see a retracement, more than likely into a bullish neo cloud, or if we were to, let's say that was the high that might form here from that previous high yet again, you could get a nice Fibonacci bounce off of the 50% retracement, which does line up here with the previous swing lower high as well. So you have two lower highs that are actually lining up very well in this case, right? With the right below 120 there, 117, 147. That's where I would kind of look for a long. But I honestly, if I really want to see a perfect setup, is I want to see this swing get broken, right? So this order block get liquidated and then come back and then bounce. So in this case, that neocloud is going to flip bullish if that does break. So I would really want to see that 135 break first and then get a retracement, because in that case, if we had something like this, then it looks really, really solid in the current state for a bull case, so long as it wants to set up for you. That's the 4 hour. If you're long-term holding and you are below, we look at the daily one more time. I would say, if you're in this range below 90, this is a hold, 100% a hold if you're below 90 cents. Obviously, anywhere below 70, 100% a hold. But for now, if you're in a trade, let's say off this retracement, once again, I would target the 137s, 140 as like a first takeoff profit if you're looking for a short-term, take profit. And then, at that point, I would honestly just say this thing's moving for some reason. I personally don't know exactly, but it's back over that ICO price, which is a very good sign that now we have guaranteed. In this case, is ICO, for when it came onto Coinbase. But now you're pretty much, they're saying that this is worth more than what it started at, right? So that's, the psychological part of me is thinking, okay, if they want this worth more than what it was at when it opened trading on Coinbase, then this is a very good sign that, this is potentially a good value and there's something coming that's, really strong. So in this case, Tommy, what's up, my friend? How you doing? He said, how much volume per 24 hours is needed in your opinion? Over 1 billion for charting. I would say 1 billion market cap is pretty good. Trading volume in the hundreds of millions we can analyze. Obviously the more the better, but in the hundreds of millions, that's good on 24 hour. Like this year, fantastic volume. Obviously the nice part too is like on the daily, the weekly, like we can analyze a lot of things. But I do like to look at 4 hours. So if it looks kind of choppy on a 4 hour chart, then we probably won't necessarily look at it. All right, let's move on to the next one. What we got? CLSK. This is a stock somebody recommended on the NASDAQ. Okay. Here you go. This is once again, a fantastic example why we say don't ignore those order blocks. Don't ignore them. And look what happened. This thing rejected beautifully off of a previous swing point. If you ever see a clean swing like this, my goodness. If you have, this is by far one of the best examples I've seen of a perfect order block reject. Okay. I think so. This one, yeah, okay. A perfect order block reject. We're gonna go over this just because this is just gorgeous. So this is what we talk about. If you're using these order blocks right, if you see a difference between the buy volume and the sell volume, okay, this you want to think opposite, right? I want to think opposite in this case. I want to think here, the buyers, if we retest this level, at that level, the buyers might be exhausted from trying to buy, and sellers might be sitting there waiting to sell from that level, okay? So that's kind of how you go about reading if the bar is higher than you don't consider, okay, there's going to be more buyers sitting here. There's more, that's not what you want to think. You want to think opposite of what you see on the volume bars. And this is a great example of why, bam, we had this massive reject. You had a $43 million order block sitting there, or 43 million in volume, sorry, not dollar. 43 million in volume sitting there, order block wise. comes up and you get a full close down, right? This candle here is what I would consider a confirmed reject. That's the candle that I would take, potential short on if I was ever to do it. I'm not going to just short when it's up here inside of it unless it has like some type of big wick and a body, right? Something like that, and it closes down. But this strong sell candle here, great short opportunity. Obviously, it closed around $11, sitting at $7, so it would have played out very nicely. For this Clean Spark company, though, where it's sitting now, it's a great level to consider. This great level to consider a potential, actual bounce, right? You have that, this is basic market structure. Now, this is the other thing that's quite interesting here. If we were to pull this, look what lines up down here, though, which is something I want to watch for. So, I honestly could see this going down to as low as $6. And the biggest reason is this. You can see here, this. And then these lows here, right? That lower high. So, you have a lot of back and forth volume at in this range here. So I will say, yes, 7. I would say this little range here between $6.76 and $6, probably a pretty good price point right now to consider a lovely bounce, right? In this case, though, you got a turning point, which is good. I would want to see another bull day. I want to see another day that closes bullish. But you are starting to see people actually buy it here, which makes sense. It's lining up quite well for this to continue off of this level. Now, the fun part, though, about about stocks is you can view the overall option volume as well. So I would look into if this does have options. I don't fully know if it does. I would go look into the options of this, see if people are actually buying, or selling calls at this level, either one. See if they're selling anything covered above 10 or more. Anything out of the money is what you would technically want to see here. Something that's in the $9-10 range. Then you're fully going to probably know that people are thinking that this is actually a good level. So that's what I really watch. This is pretty clean, down to $6. I think you have a range down to 6. Guys, we're at almost 80 likes. Remember, our goal is 100 likes per stream, right? 100 likes per stream. Let's hit that like button. Get it up. Hit the subscribe if you're new here. We appreciate all our people coming back. And once again, $300 giveaway this Friday. Don't miss it. You'll know how to enter if you're here on Friday. Might be a little bit longer stream, too. We'll let you know. On to the next one. You pick, we analyze. What's up next, baby? We got, oh, nice. Australian dollar. Oh, wonder. All right. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. Let's start the daily. Trading this order block real well. So here's the first thing. You can see that the neocloud did flip, but look, it's like a thin line. In that case, the bulls technically aren't really there. They wanted to take it, and then they kind of failed after rejecting a previous high volume level. Wow. Yeah. Very high volume level, 33%. We're at a 12% order block. Obviously, remember, sellers were great here. Buyers were weak, but now buyers might be heavy when it came back to revisit. That's the way we look at it. Now, next up, we pull a nice little Fibby going on here. Mr. Fibby. We just need a emoji for a Fibonacci. If anybody can use a basic emoji, considering what a Fibonacci would be, spam it in the chat. But in this case, we're holding support. We're at that 50% retracement from the swing low. The only thing I don't like is it has such an aggressive breakout that it completely shifted. It shifted structure. Now, obviously, a full change of character would be below this swing low here that it set. This higher low is the last higher low that was actually set, like an actual confirmed higher low. But in this case, you're going to put option. Awesome, Michael. That's great. Pay attention to the option flow too. That's always a good thing to look at. You can see based on how it moves. But in this case, guys, this swing low here on the Australian dollar is what I would really watch right now, 65,249, right? You had that break of structure also formed there. This is another thing. Once again, big deal to pay attention to is with the price action concepts indicator. is these structures, right? These swing structures, they're very important. If you ever see price come and find support or a higher low, as I draw this crazy circle, somewhere above, right, above the previous structure, that's where you would consider this trend is strong, right? That's what you want to see, okay? You always want to see them hold above. Now, here you go. Great example. I'm going to just watch it. I'm going to take off signals and overlays. If I were trading this, right? I get, chotch. Beautiful. It didn't bounce above it. I don't like that entry. It's like, this wants to go, doesn't want to go, blah, blah, blah. BOS forms. Bam. It's like, okay, now we're in business. And then it comes back down. Guess what? Found support right over that. So if you really want, you could even draw like a little box here. Like, boop. A little boxy there somewhere, It needs a little bit of range, right? You can see that fair value gap actually lined up pretty well, but a little box there. See if it finds support in that box. In my opinion, I would have probably bought on this, this guy, even this guy would have been fine, right? So in this case, it's like, wow, it's like it's holding above that previous. This is proper structure. This is how structure is meant to be traded. Okay, you get a nice support above a structure point, and then look, get your rally. Whoop. So if this trend were to continue, right, we go take our little boxy guy. We go like this. We go. We can give it a little bit of room there. I honestly, whatever the BOS comes from, just put the box with the line right to the middle like that. Here you go. So in this case too, how would I, want to confirm that it's, worth trading, right? It's like, oh, it came down. Look, it bounced. It bounced off it. I'm gonna trade it. No, I see. This is where you need to understand your candles, right? Oh, I'm just clicking too much now. Boom. Let's put that back. This is where you need to understand your candles, right? And man, I just keep going over my time. It's fine. We'll continue. It doesn't matter. I want to teach you something that's pretty easy to understand. Again, this is, you don't want to fight any trends. So if you see a bullish structure being formed, multiple breakup structures like this to the upside, you always want to see structure be forming higher than that previous structure point. So in this case, if it does come down and it forms at it, which is something that we said earlier, it's good to see. If you see a candle like this is where you need to understand your candles. That's not really a candle I would consider a great candle to be buying on. If you want, even look here, you had, one bounce here. That's not necessarily confirmed because it was one time. Even if you bought here, you could have traded the breakout, right? In this case, though, you want either side like this. Then, you technically want to wait till you actually get confirmed strong buyers taking over that level. In this case, guess what happened? At that level, you had, your first strong body of sellers come through. Now, I wouldn't consider that necessarily, that's a terrible line, but I wouldn't consider that necessarily a level to start shorting this, right? I wouldn't be shorting this until I see something like this, right? There you go. It rejected that break of structure. It broke below it with a strong body, and then you can see the sell into that order block. Now, once again, because this was still in a BOS, we didn't fully get a structure shift just yet. For a scalp, I would be trading this lower order block. That's what I would have targeted. So it would have been like a 2-day. I guess it could have been a swing, 2-day swing or a scalp. In this case, though, because it broke below that structure, right? No chotch yet. The chotch would form off of this low, right? Because that's their most recent confirmed swing point. You wouldn't consider that a swing. You wouldn't consider that a swing just because it had a one candle, had an inside bar or whatever. But in this case here, there's a reason why that hasn't fully broken is because that's where that structure does shift off that previous break of structure. So still bearish in this formation. It's like you have technically like a little bear flag trying to form here. If this fully breaks down, breaks that structure point, you're looking at probably filling this side imbalance here. It tried to fill it a little bit. So I'd say, 64.5 down to 63, or actually 64 exactly. So that's what I look for. I'd say that high, but there you go. That's a little lesson in just proper, like that's what you mostly want to look for. And it's a great way to, if you're new to trading as well, this is a fantastic way to identify when there's ranges, when there's like crappy price action versus good price action, is how and when these structure points get traded, right? So like in this case, look what happened down here with this BOS. It just traded right through it multiple times. And so guess what? That ended up being a bottom and it reversed, right? Look at this here, right? And here, I mean, this one actually is a great example of one to watch out for as well. And this is where you could actually get faked out and something where it's not necessarily worth trading. So if you get, these big structure point breaks like this after like a liquidity sweep, it could be sweeping both sides of liquidity. So essentially this high here gets swept, right? But then look, it never comes back to retest this high. It just blows right back through it. So it was just running stops yet again to bring this back lower. So in this case, this is where structures you have to really pay attention to what you're seeing. That large structure shift is probably a stop run, and then they're going to take it lower after that. Essentially what a stop run is, once again, they're just trying to get enough liquidity to send this back lower. Same thing for this side. They were trying to grab enough liquidity to the downside to send this back higher. So that's why we're saying it's like, watch to see if it actually wants to reject those levels or find support off that level. Never happened there, never happened there, right? So in this case here, this is what's a little weird about this one. A BOS is formed below this. It's like this is just stop runs all day. So like in this case, that BOS forming down here, it needs to form higher, right? It's just the structure there based on that price action. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. All right, that's just logic. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. When you put that on a shirt, it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. In this case, though, getting that breakout there would have given you your other BOS, and you could consider a trend break. Now, here you go. Here's that chart that was actually a nice structure break. And then here's that resistance off of that. I would have taken a short off of this. That would have been my short entry. And then you would have that, move right through that low. So it's just something that this is where patience comes into play, though. But, man, we went on this a little too long. That's okay, though. We're learning new things every day, baby. Let's go on to the next one. How do you avoid it? That was the question. How do you avoid it? The way you avoid it, guys, is doesn't make sense. That's pretty much all you look for. We went over Bitcoin at the very beginning of the stream. Go and check it out if you want to see Bitcoin. We will go over it at the end of the stream as well. So long as this thing can hit a new ticker. I'm just going to go until it hits. There you go. Mana. Mana. Man, all I can think of is that's not the right one. Every time I hear mana, I can just think of World of Warcraft or League of Legends. Shout out to my WoWs and my LOLs out there. Put in your favorite league champion if you're a league fan. Let me hear you. Let me see what people like. We'll look at BCH. Don't worry. We'll look at everything on the board. All right, Mr. Mana, lower highs. How's it going, man? Zaw. I like that. I like that name, Mr. Zaw. Donkey Kong, Mickey. You don't know nothing. Mickey old school over here. All right. Similar to this. Similar to what we were just looking at. Bearish definitely on mana. As you can see, let's adjust this actually. Here you go. This is the other thing, guys, especially for crypto. This happens a lot. If the Neo Cloud is not looking right, mostly it's because a lot of bearish volume was leaning into this on a daily. You just adjust it real fast. You can get a little bit better move here. All right. Definitely bearish, all right? So definitely bearish. If we go about what we just talked about, here you go. There's your BOS. There's your bounce off your BOS. There's your entry. Bop, you hit a new high. See? I mean, that's just the structure you want to see. We've seen a lot on recent crypto moves. In this case, remember, we did get, let me turn off this. You did get a change of character, right? But now it never really, it came back retested and broke it. And now it's trying to break down. It took a while to get there. I do think this thing looks like it wants to break. That means that, I think 38 would hit. It would go retest this low. Now, here you go. In this case, though, we were to pull off here to here. This retrace wasn't too bad. Look at it line up perfectly with that fair value gap. And this is why, fair value gaps are important. Because they essentially, there's your sellers getting filled again because they missed out on their opportunity. and now, they're looking okay. So right now, definitely bearish on this. I would want to see 40 get broken. I would not want a bull case until I'm back above 50. Okay, so above 50, I'm bullish. Below, right now we're bearish for sure, but lower side target would be 38 cents, right? If I go to, let's go to the weekly. I want to see this. And here you go. Another reason why not to ignore order blocks. But in this case, you did have that change of character. It's still bearish candles, which I don't like, but it's coming back down from that as well. But long-term wise, my long-term traders, this is the value to get in. I think these 40s are great. Now, obviously, it's a high risk, but this is something in which you need to go look at, for one, why mana is down. Why is it down this far from where it was? Is it actually worth this area? Now, for a considerable value point, I first need to know that mana is doing well as a actual Decentraland, candidate or whatever you want to call it, coin here, right? Once I know that this thing has potential, this is a great level to be buying it off of. There's a previous low. It's finding support on the 28s. In my opinion, since we talk about just going lower, right, on a 4-hour and a daily, I would truly want to buy this thing probably below 40. I think below 40 is fine right now. But if I actually wanted to get in this for a long-term move, it'd want to be below 40 if I wanted to hold it. But again, this is something that it's going to depend. Seeing the weekly and it coming down off these highs and, having struggling already at the lows, I'm not a huge fan of this for long term. Now, if I go look into it and, see what I want to see on the overall tech side of things, then I would, maybe consider buying it when it hits below 40. But day trading wise, short-term trading, swing trading, definitely could see this thing breaking down at 38. Now, it did retest this low here, but, my bullish prediction would be if it's above 50, you'll probably go get that upper order block retest at around 58. So that is Mr. Mana. Let's move on. I think what I'll do actually too, guys, is I'm gonna put an hour 15 maybe on the board, so we have a little bit extra time because I'm going. That was a weird voice crack, but I'm going over over time almost every day, so we're adjusting the stream accordingly, guys. We're 7 likes away from our 100 like goal per day. Here we go. Give me something good. Bam. Where's my BCH baller at, Mr. Punk? PCH. Nah, BCH. Here we go. Bitcoin Cash, baby. I haven't looked at Bitcoin Cash in forever. Wow. Okay. This is great. Great little range that we've been trading in, and here you go. If you want to see this, obviously Bitcoin Cash technically always likes trading ranges, so that's good. For a while now. Let me pull up fixed range profile. Okay, so here you go. We're going to mark off on this busted through this range right here into here. And here you go. You're right at that POC, which is good. Look at this treat. That value range properly, right? You're inside the value range. In this case, you're at the lows of the value range, just holding support. If it gets over 248, I like this to go retest 275 for the bull case. It is below the Neo right now, so it's below a bullish Neo cloud, so I'm necessarily not very bullish on this in the current state. But I don't think, based on what it's been doing, I don't think it would go much more below. Let's see this low here. This low is 213 for now. If it gets below 213 and below this value range, then I would consider a trend to be trading. But if it shows support down there, it's like that's not a terrible level, especially if you have a stop below this low of the value range here, then roughly 205-ish. In this case, though, we're treating now that point of control, which is literally dead center of this range, as potential resistance. So we're gonna see here probably next few days. I mean, this could be a bull case here pretty soon. I like this candle formation for the bullish kind of setup. On a daily, I'm not going to fight what's already happened. So it's definitely in a short-term downtrend. Let's go to the 4-hour and look at this. And here you go. This is why the bull case could play on the short-term side. So here you go. This is, in this case, let me go to that daily. I'm going to mark off in which we want to see. It would be nice to see that 48 break. The recent swing high is 43. 48's back over that Neo. We always talk about how we want to see price kind of break back over the Neo cloud. It probably will come back down tomorrow, so we'd have to wait on that. But let's go to the 4 hour again. So here you go. There's that level in which we considered, that would be probably a good bull case play. But again, I think honestly breaking over this swing high, that swing high there, good bull case play on the 4 hour. Now this is a 4 hour, obviously. So in this case, we need to break back up through that level, find support off of it, and then go retest that order block. That's kind of what I would see if it can clear this. I think we would get that kind of remove here, which means, you might have a trade from 43 to 53, so a $10 move. Yeah, oscillator's great. This is actually really good. This could actually set up soon. You have that divergence already forming. The divergence will fully play out if it breaks that. So this is another thing with people that, if you trade divergences, by the way, which is a fantastic way to trade. I absolutely love divergences. But, oscillator matrix does plot these divergences automatically for you. You can see here lower low on price. You have a higher low here, which means, but guess what? I don't need that. It plots it for me. Now, this is a good divergence. You have a identified gap between the two levels. Great price action between the two levels. That is a very good indication of a divergence. You can see here, higher low formed there. Pop goes the weasel. It went up, hit, 285 or whatever. We're getting that similar here. Now, in order for a divergence to be confirmed, it's not just something that you say, oh, divergence popped up, I'm buying. You can't do that. It has to be confirmed. And the way it's confirmed is a structure shift. So getting through this level of 43 here, that divergence would be then confirmed. And then you could look for an easy move, right? Move to the high of the range, which honestly I would just target like the 70s. A lot of volume up there, easy target. That's what I look for. So breaking through 243 looks really good on a bull case, especially with this divergence. That's pretty much what we're going with. So let's keep an eye on it. Bop. Let's go to the next one. Man, I can't do all of these in 3 minutes. But it's okay. We'll get on to the next one here. Boop. Mr. Tesla. Nice. Hey, look at Tesla. Tesla's been caking me a bit. I took a long on Tesla at 207-ish. 208. I have to look at my average. Because I was hoping we get a tiny little, tiny little run before today, but kind of just staled. It's sat still. I'm gonna close out of my position before earnings, though. Okay, so in this case, Mr. Tesla himself. I mean, again, this is an area there where a lot of people have been watching. Very, very good area, in my opinion. On the daily, I mean, shoot. Hey, look at this. Let's just pull up the profile again. So when it came into this high volume range, it was roughly right here. So we do this. Bop. I mean, look, see? It's a great, great high volume area. The reason I really do like this spot, besides it being in this value area on the low side, was, where is it? What am I doing? Is this guy right here. Bam. All right. So you got a high volume spot in which support and resistance has occurred. So that's why I considered, this order block here lining up there as well as a good buy. I was in at 208-ish, 208.50, I think. So I was looking for a push. I mean, it hit like 217, but I was hoping we could get a push through 220 for an earnings pre-run. Because earnings is this afternoon, I would not buy it. I wouldn't buy it. Just because, again, if you have an earnings jump on Tesla, it's going to be, probably like 10%, maybe a little less. You get $20 on the price, and it's still not even Still not even 50% of that current move that it had to the downside. So this is why, honestly, end of the day, honestly, after this stream, I'm probably going to close this position because it's already retesting those lows. I was hoping we could get at least a nice body close up with the earnings run. But I'll be closing out of my position today on Tesla because it didn't do what I wanted it to do before earnings, which is fine. That definitely an indecisive earnings. A lot of people are waiting on the earnings move, right? So in this case, I would wait for the earnings tonight for Tesla. Then tomorrow, consider if it's a buy or sell. Okay, so that's pretty much. There's nothing really to analyze on Tesla because we do have earnings tonight. So be ready for that. Actually, really quick, since we're on Tesla, here you go. Earnings. You can see here. This is a weird thing. Yeah, Jay-Z. I would wait. And this is the reason why. Look at the EPS difference here. You got 7.2 versus 1.5. That's not great. This is last year. January of last year was at a 1.19, which is great. It's a great move. Then it went down from that. So now from last quarter, obviously it is going back up. But if this does miss, it could be pretty bad. You also look at the revenue difference. It's pretty much missed since last year, but it's also has barely moved, which is not great. Not great for the overall price. And with Elon kind of like focusing on other things other than Tesla, it's not great for the actual price of it right now. So this is something that's going to be worth waiting, in my opinion. Wait to see what they are forecasting for this year. Okay, that's the biggest thing. It's being patient on it. Awesome. We hit 100 likes, guys. Thanks for hitting that daily goal. We really appreciate it. Charting has hit 0, but guess what? We ain't stopping. We ain't stopping until all of them are fully finished. But we do appreciate you all being here. Love doing these daily streams and to continue our wheel of analysis with your picks. The Euro USD, bop. And honestly, I should probably just put, after this, I'm probably going to just put up a thing where people can jump forward on which ticker they want to see if they want to go back. That way you don't have to scroll through looking for it. Euro. Now, remember we said this is similar, roughly, to, it's not too much similar, but it is kind of, like we talked about before on, the Aussie pair was, we are retracing into, this fair value gap, which is good. In this case, coming off that low to the high, let's see here, we've blown through that 618 retracement, right? The BOS didn't hold, and we have a bearish change of character. It is trying to, so this is the only exception, by the way, I would say, on structure points not acting as their own resistance, right? And it kind of already is, but this is the only thing I would say is if it has an imbalance on that same candle. Okay, so if you get that structure break on this imbalance, very, very good lineup. The only thing here, this is the only problem, is that you have a bullish imbalance mixed with a bearish imbalance. So there's definitely going to be buyers that are left over here, and that's why it's bounced back up. And it's coming back down. So daily wise, this is like such a rough spot to short because of that imbalance on the buy side, also lined up with the sell side. So it's something that I would see both of those and go, nah, I'm not going to trade this. Just because it's going to conflict, and you can already see it's conflicting. So anybody really, more than likely, people took shorts here. They set their stop above that high, and they would have gotten waked out today. But in this case, go 15 minute, like you said there. 15 minutes, interesting. It's interesting because, for one, now you could on the 15 minute you could have shorted this Head and Shoulders, right? Beautiful Head and Shoulders, actually. This is like grade A. Great Head and Shoulders here. You take a short off of this level. You had your change character break. Breaking lows now. So in this case now, though, 15 minute, this is where, you can also bring in, the fixed volume profile, blah, blah, blah. The low is there. So I'd say this candle here to this candle. You're heading into imbalance now. There you go. It's going lower. So that's great. Nice little pattern there. We even come back here, still breaking. That's a little bit better, honestly, but it's breaking below this high volume range. You can see what happens when it got above it and when it got below it. It's starting to sell off. But here you go again. The target right now on a 15-minute chart would be these highs here, where that inbound sitting at 50, which would be 108.784. That's where I'd watch. For now, that's a very good break into this imbalance. So you are now trading inside a buy-side imbalance, which lines up great with these lows as well. So there you go. That 108.8 would be a great target, like even Steven 108.8. But again, for those of you that don't know, this is a perfect head and shoulders setup. You got a bear flag, to call it, and then it broke through it. So you take a short right at the close of that break. Very strong break there, which is great. Sells off. Beautiful. It's a great pattern. Absolutely incredible. Heck yeah, man. Are you the one that asked for the analysis on this? Because if you did, good job. I would target, the lowest I would target is 108.74. 108.75. I just beat. Yeah. 108.75 is going to line up pretty good there. But again, these highs here is perfect. 108.8 is what I was saying. If you shorted here, it's like perfect trade. And in that case, I mean, you would definitely have your stops at break even. Okay. Good work on that 4 hour here. Into a bullish imbalance yet again. So we had two versions of that imbalance. Here's that thing where I talked about where it's like this is something you actually could essentially trade. Is a way you can do it. You have clear resistance, right? And you look for a chotch that kind of is awkward, right? This is a liquidity sweep. They're pretty much running stops and then they're going to hammer it, right? So here you go. You get a weird chotch off of this pump. I mean, this is what happened on the Aussie. That's what we talked about. It took off. It stop ran to the downside, came back in, and then stop ran to the upside. Now it's coming back down. In this case, though, I would more so not look for the stop run on the downside, but this chotch is a way better formation of this, especially if you get a strong candle close back below these lows, and then you could trade it. This is where you could bring in the 1 hour too. Here's your stop run. Yeah, it's just right through those highs. You had a gapped change of character. It's like that. All that was is a liquidity grab to drive this thing lower. That reject there, bam, could have short. Beautiful. Sol, we went over earlier in the stream near the beginning of it. My board went away. I got to fix that. Sorry. Let's go on the next one. We're just going to jump to Doge. That's right here. Where my Doge fans at? Doge dogs. Dogs. I'm going to make this quick. We're about to hit our limit. Doge. Pop. Mr. Doge, Mr. Doge. Daily, bearish. Very bearish on the daily. You can see, went up, retest that order block, came off. This now looks as if it would like to hit 7 cents again. 7 cents, good target for now. Look at this. Went up, rejected 618. Seeing that rejection there, 618 off of an order block, that there would have been great short right here. You had an awkward chotch too, so there you go. There's your stop run yet again. But gathered enough liquidity to drive it lower. Beautiful. In this case, Doge. Just go to the weekly. Here you go. So, when we got into this range, if you want to look at a decent value spot, let's see, it dropped. Yeah, I would say like here. Well, maybe this one. There you go. There you go. You would want to, I would wait for a purchase on Doge. If you actually want to buy this thing, would be like 6 cents. 6 cents and 5 millicents. I don't even know what you call. What do you call that, Vicky? Like, it's like what goes below a cent? Do you know? I don't think half a cent. 6 cents. 6 cents and half a cent. Gosh, 6.5 cents. There you go. I would wait till you get down there. 6.5 cents. I'm sure there's a. What'd you say? Being poor. Mickey said it's called being poor. That's great. But there you go. I mean, there's your value. It's at the higher value of this current range you're in. Did we chart XRP? I don't remember. But no, we touched on XRP yesterday, so go check that out. We'll be back to continue to chart, later, every day, right? So we're here every day. We'll definitely touch on that again if we didn't touch on it today. So come back tomorrow and throw it in the chat, and I'll put it on the board for you. Okay, I'll remember your name, Theo. Theo, I got you tomorrow at 1 Eastern, weekdays. All right. Doge, though, again, it's bearish in my opinion right now. I want to see. I mean, it's trying to retest this high. If it does hold 7 cents, 7 like 2.7 cents, 7.6 cents, then that's what I would look for that hold. But it looks, even with a 4-hour time frame, doesn't look too good. So rejecting that, right? So we'll keep an eye on it. But again, near the 6.5 cents, 6.5 cents, whatever you want to say, would be the area I would actually buy it. If you truly believe. Now let's go over Rivian real fast. This is something I actually traded recently. Did I sell it today or yesterday? I don't remember. I traded it off of 15 and I sold roughly. I sold it open yesterday. That was 1661. So just a minor jump there. In this case, guys, we're still at this low right now. It treated it already as a bounce. So I would kind of wait. This is, yet again, you have earnings coming up February 21st. So you do have time. But for now, you did have a confirmed spot here. It jumped up. There was actually, the big reason I bought it is there's a lot of call buyers here that were out of the money for some reason. And it was at a key level. That's kind of what I look for on top of other things that I see. But for this general level here, once again, fixed volume range, right? Bop, bop, boom, POC, right off that POC. So port of control sitting there as it was in this range. I mean, actually, I guess we could extend this a little bit. Let's extend it to this high here when it broke down. There you go. Still the POC, see? But sitting there nicely. So this has obviously been in a pretty heavy range here. You do have a lot of value sitting down here at 13. So if this doesn't hold, you're more than likely you're going to hit sub $14. So for Rivian, just pay attention to that. Obviously, right now you don't have to worry about earnings just yet, but it's really this low. This low has to hold. If this low doesn't hold here at 15, then yeah, you definitely are going to see it go lower than that. So it is a lot of volume here. So I think it could struggle again when it hits low 15 on Rivian. So pay attention to that low 15 for now. Bullish over 17, right? Bullish over 17. Always, always, always. And I'll touch on this again. That's it on the board. We have cleared the board. Appreciate it, guys. But I will say, no matter what, and you can't hear me right now, no matter what you're trading, guys, you use the charts to help you, tell you the trend, tell you if it's in a range, whatever it may be. You need to use them to help you make that decision. There's a lot of other things to help you as well. Like with Rivian here, it's something that, if I'm trading stocks in general, I like to also look at what people are buying and also selling on the option side. So seeing this, at these levels here, it could be, so long as people are showing that they're interested in this, could be a level. Now, didn't happen very much. In a strategy that I personally use, I only go for small gains on like overnight holds. Now, in this case, coming back down, I now would be considering this order block down here an area where I would look to buy, right? So I'm going to see if people actually want to buy it there first before I decide to buy it, right? I don't want to just, I'm not setting like with anything. I'm not the one that's going to be setting that, buying level. It's like I need to see people wanting to buy there. So in that case, that's pretty much, it's like wait to go with what's shown to you rather than just guessing. It's not a guessing game. Okay. In this case, let's look over Bitcoin one more time since we're kind of over on our time. Why not? Bitcoin, like we talked about, I mean, we wanted that 38 bounce. We got it. We're bullish over 42, so we want to see 42 break, but we're still bearish. Notice, like we talked about on the structure front, change character is still sitting right there. We're having resistance. We also have an imbalance. So we're definitely still bearish down to the 37, 38 mark, okay? Bearish down to 38 mark. But yes, that's what I would look for. 38 mark, right? For now. But we're bullish over 42. 42 is our bullish mark for now, bearish. There's not really much else to go over. If you want more longer analysis on it, we have a stream from yesterday you could look at. But that being said, I'm going to hop to the end here where I am not currently visible. Bah, there I am. Okay. Here I am. Bringing that music in. All right. Guys, we have Tesla earnings after hours. If you're in Tesla, just be careful. I would consider looking at it later. For those of you that have been tuning in and out here, Bitcoin 42K bullish. For now, we're thinking 38K. 38 to 37 is kind of the range we're watching. In this case, though, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it, and we definitely want to see you guys here yet again. But other than that, we did hit our 100 like goal, which was great. Tomorrow, Thursday, I do have an appointment. I think that's going to overlap with our normal streaming time. So I will keep everybody updated on the stream tomorrow. We might do it later if that's okay. If not, we might do it earlier. That's why I will keep you up to date. Also, pay attention to the YouTube. You'll see on the YouTube channel, it'll tell you when we're going live, and it'll have a countdown for that. You can join and wait. But I'll keep you updated on what time we might stream tomorrow. It's always normally going to be 1 p.m. Eastern unless there's something that, lines up with it, okay? So, but, of course, Friday, guaranteed $300 giveaway at 1 p.m. Eastern, so don't miss it. But for tomorrow, I will keep everybody updated on when we do go live again. But, guys, the market, it's brutal out there, okay? So if you're getting emotional about it, it's not something that you technically want to just continue to put your emotions into. You need to find your system, find something that works for you and stick to it, right? Everybody's different. Something works different for everybody, right? Just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I like to come on here and give you a overall bias of what we see with the charts, right? Because we don't want to fight what price is telling us. That's the other thing. Just because price is down doesn't mean you need to think, okay, it's cheap price, I'm going to buy it, right? That's something that you don't want to go for. It's like you want to wait till you see actual people piling in on buying whatever you're looking at, or piling in on selling whatever you're looking at. That's where you're going to be a lot more successful, okay? For those of you jumping in now, the stream is pretty much over, but we are going to be back live tomorrow and the rest of the week. Remember, weekdays 1 Eastern. So come back. We're going to be doing new analysis every day on majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, stuff like that, and ES and NQ. Always doing the majors in gold, but we will touch on specific ones that you guys want as well. Okay. Yes, Mickey's link in the Twitter, guys. If you want even more updates on charts, almost, I think we post something new almost every hour on what we're looking at. Go follow our Twitter at LuxAlgo. We post things for crypto, stocks, commodities, stuff like that, always on our Twitter. So make sure you go follow the Twitter because we're constantly posting updates. We just posted 153. I think we posted one actually recently. Let me see. Yeah, we posted one on Bitcoin 53 minutes ago. So go check that out. See what you think. We'll post one yet again probably here around like 2-ish. I don't know. We tend to post them almost every hour. So if you want, analysis on top of the stream, go there. The other thing, we have a absolutely free Discord. Remember, Mickey, if you were in here with us before we cut down the streams, did daily, right? Mickey was in this stream, but now Mickey is actually hosting streams in the Discord every day. Now, he might not always touch every single day, but he's trying to do at least every day. So he's in there going more so over all the features of the LuxAlgo indicators, doing analysis at the same time, showing you potential strategies that you could utilize yourself in understanding how to use the indicators. That's completely free as well. It's more private too. So if you want a more private place to hang out and trade alongside other people using LuxAlgo, join the Discord. It's absolutely free. Okay, we'd love to see you in there. And Mickey as well would love to see you on there. We also are uploading any of those streams or that Mickey does to the YouTube, but it is a private unlisted video that you can view within the Discord too. So make sure you go check that out as Mickey posts those. The one from today that people were asking earlier will be uploaded as soon as I get off stream here. Okay, so I got that ready for you guys here shortly. I'm going to put it on. But other than that, guys, Samuel, we could check that out for you tomorrow. All right, we got XRP for you guys tomorrow. So good reason to tune in tomorrow. Stay tuned to what time tomorrow. It's usually 1 p.m. Eastern, so get used to 1 p.m. Eastern. There might be days where I might have doctor's appointments where I have to do it at a different time. But it's always going to be 1 p.m. Eastern besides that. So come back with what you want to see tomorrow. And we will throw it on the wheel of analysis as you guys are getting familiar with. And we'll continue to look to see if we can maybe get a good level on Bitcoin before we get the halving coming up. So hopefully we get something good here soon. That'd be nice. But again, guys, Friday, $300 giveaway. We're giving $100 to 3 random people that are watching the stream that enter. So you'll be able to enter that day. So make sure to tune in 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Other than that, guys, stay safe out there. Trade is a trade. Goodness gracious. Trading is a risky game, my friends. Trading is a risky game. You're way better off long-term investing. Anything we went over today, obviously, is not financial advice. You know the whole spiel. But you know what? We'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll keep you updated. And have a good evening, guys. See you soon. Bye.